Welcome to the Natural Health Show with one of New England's leading natural health care specialists, Mark Mincola. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 on 95.9 WATD. He's waiting to hear from you.
Welcome home, Natural Health Nation. It's great to have you all on board for this new edition of the Natural Health Show. And we've got some remarkable information tonight, as usual. Hope you're well. And we're here to help you get even weller than well. Hopefully good things are happening in your world, but certainly there are good things happening around you in this world. And you, of course, have to dig for that. But one little bit of information, a little bit of research information that indeed is very bright and promising is the remarkable research on turmeric, the spice that so many folks think of as curry. A lot of folks enjoy curry dishes like curried rice dishes and curried lentil dishes and curried chicken dishes and so on and so on. But the spice that we know of as turmeric has these very powerful little yellow pigments. The yellow pigments are actually antioxidant called curcumins. And the National Institute of Health lists 24 current studies on the medical effects of turmeric and its curcumins. Among other things, delays liver damage that can eventually lead to cirrhosis, anti-carcinogenic cancer properties, offsets the heterocyclic amine response by up to 40%. In other words, folks have heard more and more about these heterocyclic amines that are the cancerous end products of grilling. And folks have often asked me, hey, grilling's an awful lot of fun, especially this time of year. Is there any way we can offset the negative cancerous effects of grilling? And, of course, the answer is yes. And one of them is the very spice we're talking about tonight. Just by applying a little bit of turmeric as a spice to whatever you're grilling, you can offset nearly half the heterocyclic amines that do indeed drive up cancer risks from grilling. So that's one interesting set of properties. Also inhibits skin cancer. The University of Texas has recently completed a number of studies showing that turmeric and its curcumins, again, slow the spread of both breast and lung cancer as well. So skin cancer, melanoma, breast and lung cancer. The University of South Dakota has done a number of different interesting studies showing that curcumin, or turmeric, actually increases the effectiveness of chemotherapy for most treatments of cancer. So again, making the cancer cells more vulnerable to the effectiveness of chemotherapy. So an interesting study. Also, been a number of different studies in Italy regarding arthritis. Brand new studies surfacing from the Italian research community suggesting that as much as a 58% reduction in pain associated with osteoarthritis, directly correlative with the use of curcumin and turmeric. And again, interestingly enough, these very same Italian researchers found a 300% increase in well-being among those same users. So obviously those folks who in this particular Italian study who were being studied and evaluated for pain and osteoarthritis with the use of the turmeric had a 300% improvement in well-being. Obviously it helps to be out of pain, when you've been experiencing pain. Anybody out there in the listening audience who is unfortunate enough to have experienced any kind of chronic pain, it's certainly a wonderful way to boost your emotional well-being by suddenly being out of pain. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. But nonetheless, a 300% increase in well-being, emotional well-being with the use of turmeric. Also, similar studies recently showing the positive effects of turmeric as a spice, as a medicinal spice. Heart disease. A lot of folks know what C-reactive protein is. C-reactive protein, of course, is the marker, the inflammatory marker for heart disease. A lot of folks may not know that heart disease is an inflammatory disease. cancer is inflammatory. So again, I always bring up the point that inflammation is a lot broader a perspective than ever we thought before. In the old days, we used to think that achy joints were about the limit when it came to inflammation. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Heart disease is also inflammatory. One of the primary markers for heart disease-based inflammation, C-reactive protein, and again, a 63% reduction in C-reactive protein with the use of turmeric. So, the key here really is turmeric looks like the medicine of the future. The amazing number of studies, again, the National Institute of Health lists 24 current studies indicating the medical effects of turmeric. And there are many more, of course. There are many studies being done outside the United States, a lot of European studies. And, the key to this particular issue is the remarkable antioxidant properties of the curcuminoid, the curcumins, rather, the curcurmin, curcumins. They're also called curcuminoids. Easy for me to say. Curcumin is what I call it. And it's a remarkable, remarkable story, is the story about turmeric and its curcumins. So we will be back after these messages, talk more with you about how to save your life with turmeric. Be right back.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Every time you open a magazine or turn on your TV, it's all about anti-aging and getting healthy. At Good Health, we believe that lasting health includes good eating, environmental awareness, and a healthy lifestyle. That's why we offer the latest products you read about and hear about on Dr. Oz. Fresh juices from Columbia Gorge, 100% organic produce, natural groceries, fresh wraps and salads for busy professionals, gluten-free products for those with food allergies, sports supplements, and vitamins for the whole family, nutritious food bars and prepared meals for seniors, students, or anyone on a budget. So come by Quincy or Hanover today. Visit GoodHealthNaturalFood.com to see what's on deal. Our promise to you, wholesome products, everyday low prices, and amazing customer care. Good Health, your neighborhood natural market. Always 100% shopper friendly and here for you and your family. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Now back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods, Jarrow Formulas, and Ultimate Healing Journey.
Alrighty, welcome back. And hopefully you're spicing your food with a little turmeric these days, because turmeric has some remarkable antioxidant properties. And we're talking about this, what I refer to as the medicine of the future, and it really and truly is. It's the most widely studied living food-based antioxidant-rich substance on the planet. So with good reason. I mean, it's been a therapeutic agent for over 4,000 years. And, of course, one of the mainstays as a spice of Indian cuisine, very popular in the Middle East, of course. And, for that reason, a lot of the researchers at UCLA recently out at, actually it was back around 2004, that the researchers at UCLA found that they wanted to look really closely at turmeric and curcumin because they noted that the rate of Alzheimer's in India is significantly lower, that the rate of Alzheimer's in the United States compared to India is 4.5 times greater. So there's a great deal of research that has taken place because of that fact. And again, the researchers at UCLA have indeed found that there is a direct corollary between Alzheimer's disease and the use of curcumin. And curcumin, or the turmeric rather, with its curcumins, is significantly lowers that risk factor. And it's because of oxidation inflammation. And again, I think that's the real key that I always bring up the point. I talk about it quite often. I think it's pretty impressive and a very telling fact that in 2005, the USDA did some extensive research to try to identify what the highest antioxidant-rich foods were, so that they could report to the American public, hey, there are some powerful foods. And when it comes to the sequence of the most powerful antioxidant-rich foods, the most common foods, we have a list here for you, because they did their studies, they did their homework at the USDA, and they evaluated it on the basis of ORAC factor, oxygen radical absorbance capacity, measuring the antioxidant potency, the ability to neutralize disease, to fight off free radicals, which are the disease causers or triggers. And the first top 10 foods were, of course, things like red kidney beans were number one. The highest antioxidant foods were red kidney beans, wild blueberries. And again, 8 of the top 10 highest antioxidant foods in that particular USDA study, 8 of the top 10, beans and berries. Now, just to give you an idea, the point total that they gave of the highest antioxidant-rich foods were just a hair under 15,000 points. So just keep that relative number in mind, because they then went and looked at the antioxidant properties of common spices. So they looked at things like turmeric. They looked at things like cumin and ginger and all that business. And they found that the average spice per quarter teaspoon is up to 30 times higher in antioxidants than the highest foods. So you think about foods as being really important. Of course, indeed, they are. Supplements, food supplements being important. Of course, indeed, many of them are as well. But of all the antioxidant-rich ways to protect your body from disease, of all the ways, spice is theoretically numero uno, folks. So I always bring up the point that if you're not trying to spice your food a little bit, you're doing the wrong thing, because the average American, back to that point total we talked about, the USDA said the highest antioxidant-rich foods, around 15,000 points, thereabouts. The average American does not get 1,000 points a day. That's pretty tough to imagine. When you consider like a quarter cup of blueberries equaling 14,600 points or 14,400 points, and then you consider that if you put a little bit of cinnamon on there, you just shot up to about 150,000 more points. The average American's not getting 1,000. That's because it's ring-ding time in America. That's what it is. So the objective is to eat whole foods. If you get that one mastered, then the next thing to do is start mastering whole organic spices. That's really what this whole story is about. Saving your life with turmeric is all about saving your life with spice. Spice is where it's at. Spice up your life. Save your life. Hey, we're talking about turmeric specifically, but the curcumins that are in there, or as I tried to say earlier, curcuminoids. There it is. I always knew that it sounded like something from Starship Galaxy 2000 or something like that. Curcuminoids are behind us, Captain. What should we do? It sounds like one of those crazy space words, curcuminoids, but that's indeed what they are. They are antioxidants, and they are called curcuminoids. And they're the yellow spicy stuff, or the yellow colored stuff, actually, that's in the spice called turmeric. And you've often seen it in your curry dishes. We see those curry dishes, curried rice gets a little bit yellow tint to it. The curried lentils get that yellowish-green tint. The curried chicken gets that yellowish-green tint. Delicious stuff. Great to use as a healthy, antioxidant-rich spice in Indian cuisine, but really something that the rest of the world is awakening to as a very powerful natural medicine. That's really what it's all about. Again, studies done at Kansas State University recently found the anti-carcinogenic properties would offset the heterocyclic amines, which are, again, very powerful cancerous agents from grilling, which has been more and more of late in the news. And again, we do have something then that offsets nearly 50% of those properties with the spice. I always tell people one of the quickest ways to offset the grilling risks. Great time of year to hear this news, so make sure you listen closely because I know you're all grilling about now. But the objective is to offset the risks of grilling with healthy marinades. Now, when I say the word marinade, I'm not talking about marinades that have vinegars and things like that. I'm talking about marinades that have spice in them, like turmeric, and that have a little bit of perhaps pineapple juice, things like that. Lemon. Okay, so non-fermented marinades where we're using a lot of fruits like lemon, fruits like pineapple, and spices like turmeric, because the enzymes make the difference. The enzymes break down and tenderize those meats, those proteins in those meats. But more importantly than that, from an immune perspective, they offset the potentially carcinogenic or cancer-causing heterocyclic amines up to 40-50%. That's really important news. Also, again, the University of Texas has done a lot of research in the area of skin cancer. Melanoma slows the spread of breast cancer, lung cancer. University of South Dakota talking extensively of late in a number of different news and press releases about how they're finding now that turmeric makes the chemotherapy much more successful, much more rendering the cancer cells more vulnerable is what it does. So important research all in one here, and all because of this wonderful spice. Now, the one thing I really wanted to bring to your attention this evening is this one remarkable study that I just found not too long ago regarding something called cathelicidin. Cathelicidin is an interesting concept. Cathelicidin is an antimicrobial peptide. It's an antiviral, an antibacterial, an antifungal peptide that's produced by the cathelicidin gene in the human body. It's part of what sets up your innate immunity. Now, we have two different components to our immune system. We have what's called our adaptive immunity, which is kind of a really complex aspect to our immunity, and it's much more antigen-specific. But we also have innate immunity, which is much simpler, and it's very non-specific. Now, when you take your vitamin C, you take your beta-carotene, you take your vitamin E, and you take all your great immune enhancers to try to stay well, to try to fight off colds and flus, to try to stay healthy, to try to keep up and running as best you can with your supplements. One of the things you're generally doing is strengthening your adaptive immunity. But it's very, 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 very difficult. There's been virtually nothing other than vitamin D that has been found to date that will strengthen your innate immunity. So one of the things I always tell folks, when folks say sometimes, I catch a cold or a flu, and no matter what I take, I still just can't shake this thing. These things are getting really virulent. They're mutating. They're getting stronger and stronger, which is true. But the other part of that equation, too, is it's very, very difficult to find anything that really specifically strengthens your innate immunity other than vitamin D. And now, recent research at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center found that the use of turmeric as a spice is the only second nutrient of all the different elements out there, of all the different possibilities, all the different vitamins and minerals, all the different powerful foods and antioxidant-rich foods like blueberries and beans, et cetera, of all the different possibilities. Again, beyond vitamin D, the only other thing known to science right now that strengthens your innate immunity through the buildup of this cathelicidin. This cathelicidin, again, is an antimicrobial peptide. It's a protein in the body that fights germs. It's one of your most important fighters of viruses, one of your most important fighters of bacteria, one of your most important fighters of fungi. And again, we are being exposed to, as we said earlier, undeniably true, we're being exposed to more and more mutated viruses, germs, and bacteria and fungi. The world is really getting very complicated, immunologically speaking, and it's getting tougher and tougher each year to fight the bugs that are out there. They are superbugs, as we've done, as you know from a number of shows we've done over the years here. They're becoming more and more mutated. And they are indeed superbugs. There's no question about it. So we need all the help we can immunologically. And one of the very, very important findings in my mind is this particular Cedars-Sinai Medical Center study that was just released that found that turmeric the spice is only the second nutrient found, the second substance found, other than vitamin D, that indeed strengthens the cathelicidin properties in your body, the ability to fight microbes at an innate immune level. Cathelicidin is as we said, it's an antimicrobial protein or peptide. It's found in your neutrophils and your white blood cells, and it's supported by a lot of vitamin D, works with vitamin D according to a lot of this research, but it's a critical pathogenic fighter, found to fight infections of skin, infections of eyes, ears, nose, throat, urinary tract, gut. And guess what, folks? It's a probiotic regulator. The number of folks that are taking probiotics out there is just growing by the moments. Everybody's, of course, acutely aware of the importance of taking probiotics to build up good bacteria, and that's a great thing. But if your cathelicidin protection and your innate immune protection is weak, is not up to par, those probiotics are not going to help you to the same degree that they should. So to maximize your immune ability to fight critical pathogens, infections of skin, eye, urinary tract, gut, and to regulate your probiotics, this study, this brand new study from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center is so important in my mind. It's a great study. And also it speaks to a remarkable natural medicine. What I refer to as one of the great medicines of the future is now, and it's turmeric. And it doesn't take very much of it. I heard somebody say recently, it's kind of strong. Excuse me, I can't take the really powerful spices because it causes a little bit of GERD. It causes a little bit of reflux because these are strong spices. Good point. However, you've got to keep in mind that these spices are virtually non-digestible. That's something that most people do not know, which is both a good and a bad thing. I'll tell you why it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it takes very, very, very little of them to be medicinally effective. So we don't have to pour oodles on it. I always tell people, I can envision doing, whenever I do these programs on themes like turmeric and the power of turmeric as a medicine of the future and how to save your life with turmeric, I can almost see all you out there just emptying the turmeric jars on top of what you're eating. Not necessary, folks. It's not that equation that says if a little is good, a lot more is better. Don't need to go that way. Just a tiny bit used with regularity. And again, it's Mother Nature's way of saying, yeah, this stuff is non-digestible, folks, for a reason. It's powerful. It's medicinal. Respect it. Just use a little bit. And I would say that even though this particular study really enhances my appreciation for the medicinal properties as an innate immune support agent of turmeric, that it's probably likely that a myriad of other spices would score just about as high. That you could use a little bit of turmeric one day, and again, a little bit is the key word here. Little. You could probably use a little cumin on a Monday, a little turmeric on a Sunday, a little bit of oregano on a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? I think the objective is to use just a small amount of healthy organic spices on a fairly routine basis. Because back to the USDA study of 2005, they're all potent. And just for the record books, clove, C-L-O-V-E, was the highest antioxidant of all spices. So for those of you who are clove lovers, good for you. But this particular story is about turmeric and the remarkable research done at the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center recently. And the study that basically finds that the cathelicidin properties, or the properties of the innate immune system to fight bacteria, virus, fungi, etc., these are very potent antimicrobial proteins. And again, this was done at the Oregon recent study as well. Again, the most of the research has been done, as we said, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but also additional correlative research and parallel research has been done at Linus Pauling Institute, Oregon State University. May 25th, the Oregon State researchers just came up with similar information. May 25th study at the Linus Pauling Institute, again, Oregon State University, in conjunction with researchers from the University of Copenhagen. And they also found that similar work was done at MIT, published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry. And again, the National Institute of Health funded these studies. So remarkable stuff about a very potent spice. And again, you might consider the possibilities here of strengthening your innate immunity, because it is a rare thing that you can do that. I was thinking about when I was reading the study, it's not too dissimilar to the idea of diabetic patients who out there who have type 1 versus type 2. We're used to thinking of type 2 as something you can affect with diet, keeping the starches and the sugars down, but type 1 you're kind of stuck with. It's something you're born with and you can't affect. I almost think about adaptive versus innate immunity that way. The innate components of immunity, pretty much stuck with what you got, not much that's been proven that can affect it. Again, vitamin C, et cetera, is going to help your adaptive immunity, but not so much your innate. Well, now this is the second study that says, guess what? We found not only vitamin D will affect your innate immunity, but this remarkable spice called turmeric will do the same thing. Hey, we're going to take a short little break, a couple messages, pay a few bills, be right back. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Mark Mincola. Over the past decade, the Natural Health Show has attracted many thousands of avid listeners. As the show approaches its 10th anniversary this coming June, I'd like to extend an open invitation to all potential new sponsors to join our Natural Health Show family. If you own a Heart Smart lighter fare or seafood restaurant, a fitness or day spa, or if you're an allied health professional or coach, the Natural Health Show is the perfect place for you to make the direct connection with your demographic target. If you really want to zero in and aim the message of your vision directly at those who want to most know about it, join the Natural Health Show family of sponsors. I promise you'll be glad you did. For information, call Candida at 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. With the burgeoning growth of the Natural Health Show, now's the perfect time to share in that growth together.
With over 40 years of aesthetic experience and almost a full decade of laser expertise, Bell Aesthetics and Babyface Skin Spa in Norwell offer a full range of services including spa nail treatments and airbrush tanning.
Enjoy spa services from a luxury spa facial up to a medical-grade laser treatments, including the new dual Fraxel laser.
Brighten and tighten your skin with a wide range of medical-grade peels from Obagi and Skin Medica. Most treatments have no downtime and show immediate benefits.
Book now at Bella Aesthetics in Babyface Skin Spa and look your best all year round. We also offer medical-grade products for your home maintenance.
If you're looking for experience, expertise, and results, we're looking for you.
Call us today, 781-987-1365, and transform the skin you're in.
Bella Aesthetics and Babyface Skin Spa.
Find us online at babyfaceskinspa.net or visit us at 400 Washington Street, Route 53, Norwell.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Healthy Living Magazine and Alites Medical Laboratory.
All righty, welcome back. Let's grab a call. We got Mary on the line from Hull. Welcome, Mary. How are you?
Good, Mark. Love your show as always.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Yeah, so this is great. It's a great topic. I imagine it's important to rotate the spices like any food, so as not to oversaturate on anyone.
Well, that's a great point, and I think that the idea is indeed a good idea that if you eat a food, for example, on a regular routine basis, you may not be allergic to that food, but you can develop an intolerance to it. It's like anything else. You overdo it, and overdoing it's never balanced. It's always a problem. So it's the same thing with these spices, especially, Mary, in light of how powerful, how potent they are, how medicinal they are. The idea of just using the same old heavy spice in large amounts on a continued basis is probably not a great thing, but rotate them indeed, a great idea.
Yeah, because I use many of these. You're speaking of
Yep.
practically daily.
Yep.
So, and also, I was wondering about some of those, like in cap form.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you think about Jarrow, for example, Jarrow has the 500 milligram curcumin, and I think that's a great product. It's well designed, and I think that the idea that you can really pretty much put the powder of a spice such as turmeric in a concentrated encapsulated form, and really get the same benefits of it, the medicinal benefits of it, no question about it. It's been studied that way, so we know that.
And so, if you're doing that, though, you'd want to cut back in your cookery, I guess. Well,
probably either or, yeah. In other words, I think back to your initial question about saturation, I think you're absolutely right. It's probably a good idea if you're taking them in supplement form, in capsule form, you want to cut back in your cuisine work.
Right. And say for young, like teenage, kids too, I imagine, right?
Indeed. I mean, we're talking about pretty strong stuff. And when you get up there with the turmerics and the cayenne powders and things like that, those are pretty much going to be a turnoff. But, the really good news for kids who usually can't take those real strong pungent tastes or flavors might be considered a better idea if we go in the direction of something like the parsleys of the world and the sweet basils and things like that, because they barely would even notice that those are in a soup or a stew or a food.
Right. Yeah, he loves spicy, so
well, that's
can't
good.
Get spicy enough, actually. I wondered if I might go off topic and ask you another quick question.
Go ahead.
Which is, I know you're a fan of berries, but you say to avoid fungal foods, and sometimes I notice, especially with raspberries, both fresh and frozen have a kind of a mold taste. And if you've made like a sauce-like mix, stovetop thing, I can't help but wonder if the few sort of bad ones that end up getting into the mix contaminate the rest of the batch. So aside from discarding obviously bad-looking ones, do you have any thoughts about?
It's a great point, Mary. And I think that we do know that fungal foods are problematic, and that fungal foods are potentially inflammatory, and in many cases can trigger all kinds of problems like candida, bacteria, and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So when you think about things that are potentially healthy, like something like raspberries, like you bring up, or even if you think about any water-based foods, foods that are really very, very hydrated, like sprouts would be a great example. I always tell folks, those foods are really superb, great forms of nutrition for a very short window of time. So in other words, you bring your sprouts home, you use them right away. There's like probably about a 6 to 8 hour window where they're fine. And then the minute you leave them in the refrigerator, they start to break down. And once that watery, sort of unprotected fiber starts to break down with all the hydration that's in that food. Same thing with berries; they become moldy really easily. They break down; they decompose fast.
Right, even on the vine,
Yeah, even on the vine.
Those here, and,
no question.
You can, like I say, you sort of eye things up sometimes and tell, but sometimes it can be deceptive too. So I don't know if there's a specific brand that you've had good success with when it comes to say raspberries and frozen during the winter type of thing.
No, but I tend to be really, really cautious about what I purchase, what I use, how quickly I use it, and how fresh it is, and all that business. So I think your point is a great point, that you have a window where food is really good for you, and then sometimes it turns over.
That's right. So I guess just sort of keep checking as you go is the best thing you really can do, because you don't really want to avoid those things that
no, absolutely not, because
there's
absolutely correct. There's really remarkable product. We always talk about the ellagic acid, for example. A lot of the research that was done at the University of South Carolina Medical School, that the 9 years of research that Dr. Daniel Nixon engaged, that show us that they're able to kill cancer cells in 72 hours with this stuff, with the equivalent of 3/4 of a cup of raspberries. So the little seeds that are in there are very, very potent antioxidants called ellagic acid, which is a polyphenol. You want to get that stuff without running into trouble. So, I think that the food is worth the risk, but it requires management. You can't just leave it in the fridge for 5-6 days, let it get soft, and say the heck with it. I think you got to be really vigilant.
Well, like I say, you can run into that and take it right out of the freezer, and of course, who knows how long, once it was harvested, these things that you buy.
Well, you just do the best you can, but I think, you do have to pay attention to it, no question.
Right, indeed. Okay, well, thanks very much, Mark.
Hey, thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. It's a great point. I think that, there's so many wonderfully antioxidant-rich foods out there with remarkable properties that we do want to derive the benefits from. We also have to be really careful about the state of that particular food, because, again, foods turn over on us pretty quickly. And, when that happens, you're looking at more negative, you're looking at more risk factor, you're looking at more risk than reward. So you do have to keep an eye on that, and the eye test is really good. I also think it's a pretty good idea to keep a certain watch on certain types and, certain brand names, for example. That's really quite important as well. So we've been talking with you about turmeric this evening, and the topic is the anti-inflammatory properties and the antioxidant-rich properties and the innate immune-enhancing properties, the ability to drive up the cathelicidin levels in the body. Remarkable. That's great news because, once again, very few substances, only one other substance can do that, according to research, only vitamin D. So now we have two supplements, or two sources, I should say, of antioxidant support that drive up that innate immune response in our body and cathelicidin response in our body, which is the anti-pathogenic or the pathogenic fighter properties, if you will. And vitamin D is the first one, and now we know turmeric is the second one. So thank goodness for turmeric. It's a remarkable, remarkable natural medicine, what I call the medicine of the future. And let's see here. We've got Georgia on the line, I believe, right? Georgia Manzo, how are you?
Hi. Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Great to hear your voice. How have you been?
I am great. It was great to see you in Cambridge a few months ago.
It was great to see you as well. And for folks who don't know, Georgia Manzo is a remarkably gifted cuisine artist, and she has just done a remarkable job on a book entitled Lexi's Gift, which is a cookbook for kids with cancer. And it's an amazing read, and she's just dedicated herself to making food fun but safe for children with cancer, and that's just a remarkable task. And wow, one I tip my hat to you.
Well, the guidelines you've provided, and certainly our e-dialogue, has been so amazingly helpful. I can't tell you how much I've learned since it's been January, I think, of 2011 when we started this. So it's been quite a journey for sure.
And tell us, I don't even know when was the first dream about, the first vision about Lexi's Gift, this remarkable book. When did that all first come about?
Well, I think Lexi, not too long ago, actually started looking, as she's 13 years old. Lexi is 13, and she's been living with a brain tumor, since she was, I think, about 3 months old, a slow-growing tumor that she felt very strongly about nutrition being her advocate in her defense to help against this, as well as obviously her treatments and medicine. But she turned to cookbooks and didn't find any that were really friendly for kids. There are cookbooks, as she said, cookbooks for kids, cookbooks for cancer, but none for kids with cancer. So she started looking and decided that through her association with Magical Moon Foundation, run by Donna Green, a remarkable woman, artist, illustrator, and now advocate for children with cancer.
Human angel, angel on planet Earth.
Absolutely, absolutely, in every way, survivor herself. And she Lexi felt that with her mission as a Knight of the Magical Moon, because when they join the foundation, they become empowered in so many ways, and that's what it's about. And one of the ways is that they become knights, and they have a mission in life. And her mission was to create a cookbook for kids with cancer. And so that happened, I would assume, and I'm not sure, but potentially a year before I started getting involved. And then Donna and I met in Falmouth. She came to my book signing, which was actually a fundraiser for the Magical Moon Foundation. And she liked my cookbook, which is called A Taste of It All. And she decided to ask me to go along on this journey with them. And I've just kind of been doing that ever since. You don't say no to Donna.
No,
she's velvet over steel. And you don't say no. And she's just wonderful. And I've learned a lot. And especially the basis to this being that, cancer cells meet their energy needs through the process of the fermentation of sugar.
Yep.
Is so totally opposed to normal and healthy cells. The physics and chemistry couldn't be more different.
Yep.
And that made so much sense to me that I've had a very good time taking traditional recipes and just turning them around, and it's so easy to do. It's so easy.
And something, I've tasted some of the things and seen some of the wonderful creative creations that you've put together, and let me tell you, people really need to appreciate the potential of power here. And or I should say the power of potential, rather, the power that goes along with trying. A lot of folks just say, oh, you know what, it's either you eat for fun or you eat for wellness. But again, Georgia, your work is living proof that you can combine those two elements. The food can look good, it can taste great, and it can really support immunity and help people to boost their protective ability at an immune level and to fight disease, to help them fight disease.
Mm-hmm. And the true test is with children, because they can't be fooled.
Absolutely.
And that's what's been fun about this, is what they've taught me. And a traditional recipe, like a salad with dressing, and making sure your dressing doesn't include vinegar, and put a little lime or lemon juice or zest with it. Adding your poppy seeds if you want a little bit of that, for some texture and taste. And seeds are at some points with cancer are safe enough, and I'm sure that there's a point where they aren't. But organic, whenever possible, organic canola oil, coconut nectar, coconut crystals as opposed to sugar in things. We use in our recipes mostly as sugar, traditional table sugar substitutes. We use coconut nectar and coconut crystals and barley malt syrup, because those three have very low glycemic indices, but they're also tasty. I find that brown rice syrup has a bit of an aftertaste.
Yes.
And the stevia or stevia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but was just very unacceptable.
Yep.
From the perspective of aftertaste.
Yep. A little bit bitter.
Yeah, it's not. It's very. I understand it's healthy. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't trigger pancreatic insulin, so it's glycemically safe. But no, you're right. In fact, there's a company called Kal, K-A-L, that makes a stevia liquid. And of all the stevias that I've tried, it's the only one that I will eat. It's not organic, so it isn't the highest food value version of stevia, but it is the best tasting, no question about it. But most of them, you bring up a great point. If you try some of the really super healthy stevia liquids, wow, they're very, very bitter, and they have kind of an aftertaste, and they're tough to get down.
Well, and if you're coming off a chemo protocol,
yep,
and your belly's upset anyway,
yep,
you certainly don't want to put something in your children's stomachs that are just going to make them not want to eat good food.
And I think the other part of that too is it's so important to find to dial in the right solution, because so many folks who've received chemotherapy know that it's really, really difficult to inspire an appetite, and it's very easy to lose weight. So to take some of these recipes that you've put together that are so remarkably tasty really helps support that whole concept of keeping that weight on, keeping stable and strong.
Right. And Alice, Lexi's mom, asked me, she said, I hope you can make, for instance, a ketchup that kids will like, because they just need their ketchup. They want, that's what will make them eat the good things.
No question about it.
Have a little dollop of ketchup.
Yep.
So that was one of our greatest challenges, and we found a good recipe, and it just constantly played with it and came up with something that obviously you look at the ketchup bottle and the ingredients are vinegar and sugar and things that they can't have, and ours has lime juice, and we use a kudzu root starch or arrowroot to thicken it instead of cornstarch, which they can't have. We use coconut crystals in place of table sugar, and otherwise everything in it is great. And we came up with a very tasty ketchup that
that's great.
Put into ice cube trays and freeze it.
It's great.
Freeze it in portions. And one of the things, if you don't mind, if I just say this,
sure.
It's important when parents pick up this book to be comfortable with the initial knowledge that they have to prepare a few things ahead and freeze them, so that since the kids can't have yeast, to make your Irish soda bread or make your flatbread, yeastless flatbread that's in the book, enough of a batch ahead of time, freeze it in portions, so that at the end of a busy day, when there's so much on their plates anyway, that they can take that out and not feel burdened by the few homemade things that they can do in bulk in this cookbook that they can refer to time and again with various recipes. And so I'm hoping they'll embrace that part of it for sure, because it's important for them to have it on hand and not be discouraged by that.
We are speaking with Georgia Manzo, who is the culinary master and author of Lexi's Gift, which is a cookbook for kids with cancer. And Georgia works with the Donna Green team, the team of angels at the Magic Moon Foundation. And, you know, we've been talking a little bit tonight with our listening audience, Georgia, about the remarkable power of spices and the antioxidant properties of spices. I'm sure you work with spices in a lot of your recipes, although, you know, there's probably some specific spices that you would maybe not consider using because you're working with kids, and kids perhaps are not the top candidates to consider for a real pungent spice. But I'm sure you're using some spices in there.
We've used a lot of the Ceylon cinnamon, and maybe you could speak a little bit about coumarin or comari. I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, but it's in the cinnamon that we get most readily here in the United States.
No, you're right. It's coumarin. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And so we opt for Ceylon cinnamon that has less of that in it. And I think the properties in that are not good, but I forget why, except that we use some turmeric too, but not a lot because kids don't like that.
Well, and as we said a little while ago, the good news about it is it doesn't require much. It requires so very little. You could just you could almost put an amount in that was barely traceable and still benefit from it. So that's really the good news about turmeric.
Right, that's true. That is true. And another one too, I'm finding not just the spices, but the herbs, and
of course, yeah,
the things like oh goodness, I'm looking through my recipes here and going through mostly again. It is some of the spicier things, especially red pepper, which not a lot of it in every recipe, but it's in a lot of the recipes because I understand that to be good for your heart. And tell me, though, if that's the other thing is I'd love to spend time with you just to talk about these recipes one at a time, even to go over.
Well, you know, I was just thinking how much fun it would be. I'd love to get you in studio for an entire show some night. You and I can just talk about food from a perspective of maybe sharing a couple recipes with folks and maybe encouraging people to pick up on the Hey, when will this remarkable book be available?
In e-version, I expect it will be probably by October or November.
Great.
And then hopefully after that we'll have printed versions. But Donna, wanted to have this available to parents just as soon as possible, and she felt that the electronic version would serve that purpose. Now, I had a couple questions for you. We're almost, you and I have gone over and over different things. We just finished a chapter called Coping with Side Effects and things like that, and fatigue-fighting foods. But I wondered about post-cancer nutrition. Just maybe a couple of things to tell people how to approach that from a nutritional perspective.
Well, I think probably the most important thing there, we're going to have to break in a second here, but I will answer those. I think that lipids or fats, good fats are really one of the most important components of all there. I think gamma-linoleic acid is really, really important. I think the idea of using good, safe fats in diets, omega-9s are really important. The olive oil, of course, but to increase the overall consumption of fats as a post-cancer diet, to use more avocado in foods, to use to increase the I like to use soy nut butter, of course, but to use the lipids that are actually considered really healthy lipids, both in diet as well as in supplementation. But I think we'll probably have to cover that on another day. In fact, I'd love to get you to come back in here, like I said, and to have a whole evening with you in studio. That'd be great. So can we work that out?
Absolutely. May I just quickly say that this is Lexi Williams' cookbook. I'm simply a vehicle, and that I've enjoyed it. I've helped to transform some recipes, but she's certainly transforming the lives of many children like her. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, Georgia Manzo, it was great to have you on. It's been great to learn from you and to share in this remarkable process in some small way. And I'll tell you what, I salute you, I salute Don, I salute everybody at Magical Moon Foundation, and we're all better people because you're around, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you so much. Hey, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break.
Are you one of the 20 million Americans suffering from neuropathy, shingles, or chronic nerve pain? In the last 3 years, many people have discovered excellent and affordable treatment for diabetic, post-chemotherapy, and other types of neuropathy and chronic pain. Dr. John Hayes, chiropractic physician since 1981 on Route 53 in Norwell, has had such astounding results with his unique neuropathy program that he's now teaching his remarkable system to doctors around the country. His most recent book, entitled Beating Neuropathy, remains a bestseller. In fact, Dr. John Hayes is the world's exclusive educator and trainer for Rebuilder Medical Technologies. Call Dr. Hayes' office 24/7 to schedule a free neuropathy analysis. Call 781-659-7989. That's 781-659-7989. Call now while free neuropathy analysis slots are open.
Struggling with weight loss? Would you like to learn about foods that raise your metabolism? Are you maximizing your calorie burning potential? Hi, this is Mark Mincola, New England's leading natural health care expert. Join me for my Metabolic Weight Loss Management Seminar Friday, 7 p.m., June 8th at the Whitman Wellness Center in Whitman, Mass. Come learn how to better manage the stresses that sabotage your weight loss metabolism. Don't be frustrated fighting those extra pounds anymore. Come and learn how to master your metabolism in mind and body. That's Friday, June 8th, 7 p.m. at the Whitman Wellness Center, 7 Marble Street, number B12. For information, call 508-615-9806. Maximize your calorie burning potential.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by iFree2Be and Dr. Mustando of Marshfield Chiropractic.
Party, welcome back. And again, the remarkable book that we were just speaking about is called Lexi's Gift, L-E-X-I-E, Lexi's Gift. And Georgia Manzo, of course, has done such a sterling job with that book, excuse me, and with the recipes therein. So keep an eye out for that. Again, there's an e-copy, I guess, available about now. And the hard copy will be available in October, November time. So we'll make sure that we get her back in. And I have a great vision to get George in here, and she and I can kind of talk about food from a perspective of recipes for folks out there who want to really talk to somebody who's just done a remarkable job at putting together a specific cookbook for kids with cancer that really considers the importance of immunity and, like she pointed out, keeping the food interesting, fun, tasty, delicious to look at and to eat both. But as well, food that is very cautiously assembled and with immunity and health in mind, that doesn't have a lot of sugar, a lot of fermentation, because again, we always talk about Dr. Warburg's lead, the great two-time Nobel Prize winner who said the primary cause of cancer is the fermentation of sugar. So again, Georgia Manzo, hats off to you for doing such a truly amazing job at putting that book together. So I look forward to getting her back in. All right, just to once again start to kind of summarize here what we talked about. We talked about turmeric this evening and the important study that I think is a real groundbreaker that in a number of recent studies, we talked about Cedars-Sinai Medical Center has done a lot of the ongoing research regarding turmeric, but also the Linus Pauling Institute researchers at the Oregon State University, which they released a study on the 25th of May, brand new study about the powers of cathelicidin generating immunity with regards to turmeric. Again, turmeric has the ability to do what very, very few supplements or foods can do, which is to boost a part of our immune system that's hard to boost, hard to get at, hard to support. And again, I think that when you think about this particular part of immunity, this cathelicidin gene that actually helps our bodies to fight bacterias and viruses and all that crazy stuff, it's basically conserved in human lineage by junk DNA, and it's been 60 million years that it's been in there. So we've been developing this stuff for 60 million years, and it's really kind of set in its ways, and it's hard to affect it, like we talked about diabetes type 1. Hard to touch it, hard to get at it. You can influence it, but not easy. Vitamin D is one of the few things we keep saying that really is able to really affect this part of our immunity to help us fight these bacteria, et cetera, at this particular level. But again, this particular spice, remarkable as it is, seems to really be one of those critical enhancing agents at helping it to fight pathogens. And that's great news, because germs are getting real funky these days. There's an awful lot of mutation going on, and these things are getting stronger and more peculiar and harder for our immune system to identify with. So to use a little turmeric in the diet could make a huge difference, along with a little bit of vitamin D. Doesn't hurt. Vitamin D, we'll do a show on that very soon, because it's well worth our attention. And again, I think that this is really great information. But again, we also want to remind you that the National Institute of Health lists 24 current studies regarding the medical effectiveness of turmeric. And we've got some really remarkable studies here to glean from Kansas State University, Oregon State, University of Texas, University of South Dakota. Again, all these different remarkable studies about the ability to inhibit skin cancer, slow breast cancer, slow lung cancer. Again, support heart disease by lowering C-reactive protein as much as 63%. Amazing stuff. Delaying liver damage that can eventually lead to cirrhosis. So we're talking about a real powerhouse here in turmeric. So I do recommend, from a supplement perspective, for folks who have any immune suppression problems, maybe fighting cancer, maybe dealing with heart disease, etc., you might want to think about getting some Jarrow formulas. Turmeric, their curcumin, is a great product. So check it out and use it as an organic spice as well. Hey, wow, that time went by awfully quickly. We want to thank our terrific producer, Tim McKenney. Good job, Tim. And Ed Perry, thanks to you as always in Candida. Congratulations, another great job at the Healthy Living Expo. Georgia Manzo, thanks for being on board. Folks want to check out more information, go to my website at www.maxhealing.com. I will be at the Whitman Wellness Center on Friday night at 7 o'clock. If you want to join me, I'd love to have you on board. But again, get to that website at maxhealing.com. Until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well, make it a healthy week. Good night.